Okay, picture this. You're stuck in traffic, you're late for a big meeting, and your phone is just buzzing off the hook with emails you can't even get to. You feel that knot forming in your stomach, your heart starts pounding. Yeah, that is the all too familiar feeling of being completely and totally stressed out. We've all been there. But have you ever really stopped and wondered, what is that feeling actually doing inside your body?
Because that feeling, it is not just in your head. It's a powerful, ancient biological reaction that's hardwired right into our DNA. And you know what? Understanding it is the absolute key to taking back control over your health, your performance, and even how your body looks and feels. So, let's get into it. All right, here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to look at your body's alarm system. Then we'll meet the main character in the story, cortisol. We'll see what happens when that alarm system breaks and the price your body pays for it. And finally, we'll talk about something called the exercise paradox, and most importantly, how you can reset your entire system. So let's start at the very beginning. Before we can talk about managing stress, we really need to get a handle on what it is, on a biological level. See, at its very core, stress is a survival mechanism. It doesn't matter if the threat is a predator chasing you or a mountain of unread emails. Your body's reaction is pretty much the same. It gears up for action. This isn't some design flaw in our system. It's a feature that was literally designed to save your life. So how does it work? Well, think of it like your body's own internal emergency broadcast system. First, your brain spots a threat, that looming deadline. That perception kicks off a chain reaction, a signal that zips from your brain all the way down to your adrenal glands. And then, step 3, those glands release a cocktail of hormones, most famously adrenaline and cortisol, that flood your system and get you ready to fight or run. And that brings us to the star of our show today, cortisol. Now, it's often painted as this big, bad villain in the story of stress, but the truth? Well, it's a whole lot more interesting than that. So let's just ask it directly. Is cortisol really the bad guy? The short answer is no, not at all. Cortisol isn't inherently bad. In fact, you absolutely need it to live. The problem isn't the hormone itself. It's all about the context and, more importantly, the dose. In fact, cortisol is absolutely vital. You know that jolt of energy you get when you first wake up? That's your cortisol awakening response, and it's getting your body fired up for the day. When you face a challenge, cortisol is what mobilizes your energy reserves, giving you instant fuel. It's a key player in keeping your body in balance. Put it this way, you literally could not survive without it. So if cortisol is such a necessary part of our survival toolkit, where does everything go wrong? Well, the problem starts when the stress doesn't go away, when that alarm system gets stuck in the on position and never shuts off. Let me give you an analogy. Think of acute stress like a fire drill. The alarm goes off, you react, you handle the situation, and then it stops. Your cortisol goes up, and then it comes right back down. It's actually helpful. But chronic stress? That's like the alarm is broken. It's just ringing constantly, day and night. Your body is stuck on high alert, and your cortisol levels never get a chance to return to normal. And that right there is where the real damage begins. And this is the whole key. This system, this fight-or-flight response, was designed for a short sprint, not a never-ending marathon. When that emergency signal is always on, your body is forced to start making some really difficult trade-offs to survive what it thinks is a permanent crisis. So what are those trade-offs? What is the actual physical price our bodies have to pay when that alarm is always ringing? Think of your body like a company going through a really bad financial crisis. To stay afloat, it has to start cutting costs and reallocating resources. And it starts with the stuff it considers metabolically expensive. And the very first thing on the chopping block? Your muscle. Lean muscle is incredibly active tissue. It takes a ton of energy just to maintain. So in a crisis, your body sees it as a luxury it just can't afford. So what's actually happening here? Chronically high cortisol sends a signal to literally break down your muscle tissue. It's a process called proteolysis. Your body dismantles that valuable muscle into its basic building blocks, which are then converted into sugar for quick energy. I mean, think about that. Your body is sacrificing its own strength to fuel this constant state of emergency. That not only makes you weaker, but it also tanks your metabolism. Now, at the exact same time it's breaking down muscle, your body is also desperately trying to hoard energy for this ongoing crisis. But here's the thing, it doesn't just store it anywhere. It is very, very specific about where it puts this emergency fuel reserve. It stores this energy as something called visceral fat. Now, this is not the fat that you can pinch on the outside. This is the dangerous stuff, deep inside your abdomen that wraps around your vital organs. And it's not just sitting there. It's metabolically active, constantly pumping out inflammatory signals that can lead to all sorts of serious health problems. So you have to be asking, why the belly? Well, this is where it gets really fascinating. Research shows that the fat cells in your abdominal region have way more landing spots or receptors for cortisol than fat cells in other parts of your body. This makes them uniquely sensitive to that stress signal. So when cortisol is high, it's like a magnet, pulling fat from other areas and depositing it deep in your abdomen. And this creates a really nasty, vicious cycle. See, chronic stress makes you crave those high-energy, high-sugar comfort foods. It's a survival instinct. But when you eat them, you combine high cortisol with a big spike in insulin, and that is the perfect storm for fat storage, specifically in your belly. Then that new belly fat creates more inflammation, which is yet another stressor on your body, and the cycle just keeps going. Okay, so if stress is the problem, what's the solution? We always hear just go exercise, right? But it's a little more nuanced than that. And this brings us to what I call the exercise paradox. Believe it or not, every single workout you do is a form of physical stress. It temporarily raises your cortisol and breaks down tissue. But, and this is a huge but, it's the right kind of stress. It's a controlled stressor. It's a challenge that your body adapts to and becomes stronger from. You can almost think of it like a vaccine for stress. It teaches your body how to respond and recover more efficiently from future challenges. And we can even be strategic about it. Take resistance training. It's a direct counterattack against cortisol's muscle-wasting effects. It literally flips the switch for muscle growth and repair, telling your body to preserve that precious lean mass. On the other hand, something like high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is a powerful tool for burning fat. It triggers the release of other hormones that basically unlock your fat cells, allowing that stored energy to finally be burned for fuel. It's like a 1-2 punch that directly fights the biggest problems that chronic stress causes. Now, exercise is a fantastic tool, but it's just one tool in a bigger toolkit. To really get a handle on chronic stress, we need to send our body consistent signals of safety. So let's get practical and look at some strategies to finally reset that alarm.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with sleep. Skimping on sleep is one of the biggest physical stressors you can put on your body. It completely messes with your hunger hormones. It cranks up ghrelin, the one that makes you crave everything in sight, and it silences leptin, the one that tells you you're full. Prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, it's not a luxury. It is a non-negotiable for managing your stress response.
Okay, next up, mindfulness. And listen, this isn't just about feeling calm. This is about changing your actual biology. There was this one incredible study on stress eating. The control group gained weight over the study period, but the mindfulness group, they maintained their weight. But here's the really wild part. They also had a significant reduction in their cortisol awakening response, that morning stress surge we talked about. They were on a biological level measurably less stressed. And finally, let's talk nutrition. Fueling for resilience means focusing on the quality of your food. We know from research that diets rich in whole foods are linked with better weight maintenance. And it is absolutely crucial to get enough protein. That gives your body the building blocks it needs to fight back against cortisol's muscle-wasting effects. It's about giving your body the resources to weather the storm, instead of just adding more fuel to the fire with processed comfort foods. And please remember, you don't have to completely overhaul your life overnight. Every good night's sleep, every mindful moment you take before a meal, every single workout, each one is a small signal of safety. You're communicating to your body right down to the cellular level that the crisis is over. You're telling that alarm system that it's finally okay to stand down. So let's just wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways? 1. Stress is natural, but chronic stress is the real problem. 2. Cortisol isn't the villain, but when it's always high, it can lead to muscle loss and belly fat. 3. You can absolutely fight back with strategic exercise, quality sleep, and mindfulness. And finally, managing stress is really all about managing the signals that you're sending your body. So that leaves us with one last question. This isn't about trying to fix everything all at once. It's about starting somewhere small. Knowing what you now know about how your body interprets these signals, what is the one small signal of safety you can send your body today?